It feels like just yesterday that we had a show, and really it was about 3 days ago. What is going on, everybody? We are back with another yet to be named podcast. Joining me today is just Gabe, not volatile Gabe, just Gabe.
Yeah.
And that is all. We've got a smaller cast, shorter show. Just want to make sure we gave you guys something for this weekend. We're going to get back to the Friday wagon. It seems like everybody was hopping aboard that one instead of Tuesday. Tested it out, got some good feedback, and now we are moving to Friday. Also, as you're seeing on your screen, adding in some gameplay for you guys who are hungry for a little bit of that action. Gabe is the man when it comes to all the upgrades each and every week. So give him your claps and your. Oh, that sounded kind of bad, but give him like your
No, don't give me claps, please.
give him your love and your support because he's making all of these upgrades for you. Today we're talking feedback, we're talking the DICE Awards, and we're talking some new games because even though there hasn't been big releases, there's been quite a few small to medium releases, I'd say, that have filled in our February. Do you get any snow where you live in Texas?
No, man. We had snow one time, and they said that was the first time it snowed like in 90 years, and it probably
Wow.
won't happen again for another 100. So,
Wow.
unless I leave Texas, I'm not seeing snow.
Do you plan on leaving? Are you
Oh,
going to be a lifer?
oh hell no. Nah,
All right.
I want to move to Wisconsin or something. I don't know.
Oh God, you got a Patriots hat on.
No,
Bringing up
no, yeah. I'm a complete cluster F when it comes to that. So,
Yeah, I lived in Wisconsin. I've moved, I think, 14 times now, which is insane. 25, 14 moves. I'm going for 30 moves by 50. No, that would be,
nah, man. I moved down the street. Like I moved to like another neighborhood. That's about as
yeah.
far as it goes. I've been
Uh,
growing up. I was in the same house forever. Like since I was
really?
born to when I was like 18, and
Wow.
so
Yeah, that's how my girlfriend is. She's lived in the same house since she was born, and so I just like I lived in Michigan. I lived outside of Chicago. I lived in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, different town in Wisconsin. I lived in California. I lived in and like multiple places in these different
yeah.
locations as well. I moved back to Indiana. I moved back to Santa Monica. I moved back to Indiana, different apartment. So I'm like,
Yeah, so you're well versed with the United States. I've been, I've lived in Texas.
uh-huh.
I was in San Francisco for 3 days, and that's it. Like I've been to
Oh,
Mexico.
really?
Yeah, I've been to Mexico to eat some tacos. That's about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if we count Mexico as a state, you're at three.
sure.
Mexico kind of.
Oh, me and some friends like just oh whatever we can talk about it. Me and some friends of mine, you know how we had mentioned like E3 happening and you
Mhm.
know trying to get over there. A friend of mine suggested like, dude, let's just take a road trip like over there, like drive.
How far would that be for you?
24 hours.
Whew.
My friend's girlfriend, her family actually lives in California, and
Okay.
she's over there every summer anyways, so she needs to get there. And she's driving anyways, so maybe we all just pack up in her SUV and go. And
That'd be crazy. I went from LA to where I live, Indiana now, and that was about a 32 plus hour trip, and that was, I mean, it's fine, but that's as far as it'll go because we did like hotels along the way because
when,
I fall asleep when I drive. I have like a really driving puts me to sleep. My
yeah,
brother is great about driving, but like that's like my instant exhaustion
yeah. See,
fuel.
it would be four of us driving, so we could take shifts. Like we don't necessarily have to stop for a hotel and you know waste
True,
time when
true.
there's four of us, 6 hours each driving. Everybody's else.
Or we'll just have to get a podcast plane, a private podcast plane.
Uh,
Just pick up everybody. We'll go get you. We'll go pick up Max up in Canada.
all right,
And
guys, sending your donations for the podcast jet.
exactly. And by
Yeah.
the way, Blitzwinger is missing because he was just busy. This is sort of a last minute thing we threw together to make sure we got to show up. He'll be back next week. You guys came in full force in the feedback section of the last show, talking about the 4K consoles. And Eugene Johnson kind of came through with what I feel is the overarching sentiment that everyone kind of had, which is he says, well, as a guy who owns both the PS4 and Xbox One, I really do feel if Sony and Microsoft made upgraded 4K systems, it's pretty much a big FU to all of us who shelled out the hundreds of dollars for the current systems. I understand what GhostRobo is saying here. Releasing these updated systems is a way to get those who didn't purchase the system to reconsider getting it. However, what about the millions of us who had already? The only message to be learned here is it's best not to rush and get these systems out right away. Rather, it's best to hold off a year or so and see what may happen. Um, everybody kind of agreed. Like 4K, nobody seemed. I don't know if there was one person who thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, and I feel like people misinterpreted what we were saying completely.
A little bit.
Yeah, or I don't know, people just left the comment as soon as they saw the topic and they didn't necessarily care to listen. But we unanimously agree there will be no 4K gaming on these consoles, or probably not even the next ones. Like, it's not gonna happen. We're talking about just for streaming, and we're talking about the fact that these consoles don't have HDMI 2 support, and that was basically it. And it's not that we think this is going to happen, but that Forbes article, and then it gets picked up by IGN and GameSpot or whatever, so, it was a topic to talk about.
And I was looking through that Forbes guy's history, and he kind of was a little... He had 2 articles titled, like, why the PS4 and Xbox One are already outdated. So he's very much on sort of the...
PC Master Race bandwagon.
Yeah, and just kind of like the ship of, like, these consoles aren't what they should have been. And I kind of agree with Eugene, like what he's saying about, they were rushed out, even though it was such a long gap, like 8 years, and they're still rushed. They do feel a little bit undercooked, but only time will tell, like, if we really max power, out of these boxes.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get max power eventually. We just don't know when it's going to happen.
Right, well, I just mean, like, have we got... Like, you look at the 360 and take Gears of War 1 to Gears of War 3, and the difference there is massive. Are we going to have, Killzone 5 come out in 2020, and that's going to be a massive upgrade over Shadowfall?
Yeah, I think it will, but the thing is, it's not going to have the same impact because we can already have those experiences on PC. True. So, from console year 1 to console year 6, that difference will be there. It just won't make that shock on us like, oh, this looks so much better, because we've already been seeing it on PC.
PCs could do that last gen too, though, right?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe more people are just getting exposed to PC gaming, Steam. Simpson703 made a point that I thought was interesting, and Gabe, maybe you know the answer to this. He said basically that there's no point in this because 4K TVs will be smart TVs and thereby will have a Netflix app built in.
That is true. Sorry, I'm adjusting my mic. That's true, but the thing is, smart TVs are... They have a bad stigma to them. Nobody likes them. The UI is slow. Like, going from app to app, it's just slow. There's not a lot of processing power in TVs. Like, right here, I have a smart TV in front of me, and I have a Roku. I went and bought a Roku because the UI, and it's a nice smart TV. It's not like a cheap one. It's a nice Samsung smart TV, and their UI is just so slow. Getting from Netflix to, let's say, Amazon Prime, it takes like 2 minutes, and who cares? Like, the processing is just not there. So
it's a better experience by having it on your console. You don't have to switch back and forth inputs. You can just kind of handle everything all in one go. American Sheepdog 94 says 4K whoop-de-doo. I'll go play my Wii U where the games are actually fun. And then he gets, shots are being fired. PlayStation hasn't been fun since the original PlayStation. Bring Crash Bandicoot back to how great it used to be. Then PlayStation might be worthwhile. Maybe throw in a good version of Twisted Metal. Now we get games that are nothing but cutscenes. He can fight against the machine of gaming, but
that's a whole nother argument. But
I do think that the general sense right now, and it differs from 3D. 3D people were pretty into, like, oh my god, this is going to be cool, the new Transformers movie on my home screen in 3D. 4K, nobody seems to care 1 ounce about, really.
But then I think that 4K is the thing that's going to stick around. 3D is not a thing. Like, people say, oh, they're selling TVs. Nobody uses it. I have 3D on my TV. I've never used it. Not once.
Yeah. It's just how much, to me, an untrained eye, even though I trained myself with tons of video games, I still have a hard time identifying 1080p versus 720p. So is 4K going to be that much?
Well, the jump to 4K is super noticeable.
Is it?
Yeah.
Even for games, though?
I don't know. I've never seen.
Yeah, true point.
And the games that people do upload to YouTube, like in 4K, like there's videos out. PC Gamer. They do this very cool thing where they have this crazy like $10,000 to $20,000 PC that can run 4K games.
Okay.
So they upload a video saying, "Hey, this is what this game looks out maxed out at 4K," and the video looks super impressive, and that's with the YouTube compression.
Right.
So 4K is more noticeable on bigger screens. Like on a 27-inch screen, your 4K 1080p, more things fit in the 4K screen, but a blown up video, it's hard for you to see the difference in, the amount of pixels on such a small screen. But if you have a 280-inch TVs, one's 1080p, one's 4K, you're gonna see the difference, even if you're an untrained eye.
So the real trick of all this is we all have to build like movie rooms and have 100-inch projectors, and then it'll work out okay.
Exactly, and I don't know how many people are doing that right now.
Yeah, and I don't think we got sort of the conclusion that these boxes would not be replacements, but rather just sort of like upgrades. And yet at the same time, I think we all kind of came to the conclusion that that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
most likely. So
Netflix, you were lied to. Sony has no intentions.
Or maybe Netflix just says that to like try to boost the potential for it to happen. Like if you publicly say something like, "Oh, Sony, blah blah blah," then maybe it sort of gives them more of an impetus to get going on that project or whatnot.
All right. Now that I want to address one of the comments. Somebody said I need a pop filter. I have a pop filter, but it broke like right before we started recording the podcast. Like it's an old pop filter already. I need to go get a new one. I tried taping it together, but yeah, I'll go without it this week. I'll have one for next week.
Sounds good. We will we'll continue to the show will continue to evolve over the next week or so before we prep for our kind of final. The other big question we get is like, when is it coming to iTunes? Will it be on a downloadable platform? Absolutely. That's the full plan, always has been. We're just getting it as good and juicy as we can for you guys before we unleash it sort of in its like legit, totally done
and it's level
state.
3 form before it starts attacking the reactor.
Exactly. Yeah. Evolve does come out in a couple days, so
yeah.
So you're right on point there. Couple other pieces of feedback, but I'm going to shift those towards later in the show. Trying a new thing where we kind of interject your comments and questions throughout. Let us know what you think of that. I want to move to something that is very current, and that's the DICE Awards. Those happened just last night, and this is kind of like, it's been compared to the Oscars for gaming. I mean, you laugh, but
no, I know, and it says like, oh, this is decided by the Academy. I don't know. Right. I don't know what the Academy is, man.
Well, gaming has struggled to find a reputable award show for a long time. We did the VGAs, which were basically a joke. Keeley's put on the Game Awards last year, and it's also coming back this year.
He did a good job.
I thought that was pretty well done. It's hard to find like a definitive. I mean, the Oscars obviously are totally subjective, but they've been around for so long that it has like an authority to it that you trust, and you're like, wow, that one movie of the year, okay.
Yeah.
Gaming doesn't have like a well-established governing body, so it's hard to give any like what makes the DICE Award Game of the Year any better than Game Informer's Game of the Year. You know what I mean?
Well, Game Informer's being decided by a staff of people, and the DICE Award is people that are in the industry. Like,
true.
I mean, it's different, but some of these awards are laughable. Like, I mean,
yeah,
we're gonna get into them.
The main theme here is that they got it all wrong. Like, almost all of these are wrong. I don't know how they could, like, I don't know what the vetting process is for the judges. I don't know what the vetting process is for the ballots, like for the games themselves. But they're all wrong, and I just
not even wrong.
Let's go through a couple that
wrong is a weird term to use because, like you said, subjective. It's a group of people, and
they're just they feel off base.
Yeah, like this. All right, start it off. You want to go down the list? Go ahead.
I mean, okay, a couple that I think are fine. Like, okay, FIFA 15 Sports Game of the Year, outstanding achievement in sound design, Destiny, outstanding innovation in gaming, Shadow of Mordor, fighting game of the year, Smash, Sprite Award, Transistor. Okay.
What is that even? Sprite. I was thinking like drinking. Okay.
Yeah. No, Kobe Bryant walks out and no.
Hearthstone winning mobile game of the year. I like that. Hearthstone is amazing.
And also strategy game of the year. Like, that's cool. But where it starts to get weird to me, I mean, let's just pull the big one out of the bag right from the get-go. Game of the year, Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
I don't know what the full list of options were, but
yeah, I can pull that up actually.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people say Dragon Age Inquisition is game of the year, and I don't know if it's just because 2014 was so lackluster, but I feel like that game, because of its like massive girth, it just like gets the award. Like, it's 80 hours and has all this stuff in it.
Which one did you want to know? The main one, right?
Yeah, game of the year. Like,
okay,
what?
all right.
I'm guessing it was Mordor, Inquisition, Destiny. I think it was Destiny, Inquisition, Mordor, and maybe one more. But I mean, some people are going to obviously be super happy.
I'll go through the list now. No, your list was wrong. Destiny, Dragon Age, which one? Far Cry 4, Hearthstone, and Mortar. So you were half right,
Okay.
man.
I
I,
just feel
I,
like
I guess. What else would you pick there?
I feel like that's a bad list. I wouldn't have picked any of those. I mean, but
What? That's the list. You got to pick one.
how do these even get nominated? I don't know. From that list, I would pick Hearthstone.
So would I.
I just
Yeah, so would I.
okay. I have not finished Dragon Age, so I cannot like fully speak on this. But to me, it just feels like a game from yesteryear, which I guess is fine.
Yeah, it's
But
fine. I mean, I
that's
bet.
not my biggest gripe. Like game of the year, okay, that's a very subjective one. Okay, but where I get really weirded out here is, I mean, family game of the year, Little Big Planet 3. I don't even know anyone that's played Little Big Planet 3.
Yeah, I haven't touched it. All right, well, here are the nominees for that were Disney Infinity, the Marvel Superheroes Edition,
Right.
Lego Batman 3, which in my opinion that's what should have won. Project Spark and Skylanders Trap Team.
My question is, why isn't Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare on that list?
Did that come out last year?
2014, yeah, February.
Why isn't it on the list? That's a
Why
good
isn't it
one.
on any of these lists? Because to me, that's a more fun and charming game than a lot of these. I mean, Middle Earth cleaned up everything.
Wait, are we
Out-
Middle Earth won Family Game of the Year?
No, Middle Earth won Adventure Game of the Year, Achievement in Animation, Technical Achievement, Achievement in Narrative, Achievement in Character, Innovation in Gaming, Achievement in Game Design, and Achievement in Game. Like basically, Middle Earth was like God's gift to gaming in 2014.
Apparently, I mean it was a good game, but it was
I think it's
Batman.
all because of the what's that called? The Nemesis system.
I mean that was really interesting. That was something that we hadn't really seen before. So, I mean, I guess in terms of that, sure, but you don't give it what 8 awards that was?
Do you have the list for Achievement in Narrative,
Yeah, I do. Hold
the
on.
nominees?
Yeah, I have the list for everything.
Because I was pretty convinced that Mordor's story was terrible.
Achievement in narrative, you said?
Yeah.
Outstanding technical. Okay. I have outstanding achievement in story. Is that what it is?
Probably.
All right. So Middle Earth, South Park: The Stick of Truth, This War of Mine, Valiant Hearts, which Valiant Hearts was a good one, and the Wolf Among Us.
I think all of those are better choices. I mean,
Not South Park.
yeah, well, South Park is, I don't know why that's on story. Maybe on like funny story, but
Yeah.
and then, you know, giving Destiny Action Game of the Year and achievement in online, whatever that means. To me, Destiny's Online was terrible. The fact that you would walk in at level 12 and there would be level 25s who would come one-shot the mini boss in front of you, and you had no ability to kick them, boot them.
Well, not. I mean, but the Crucible's there, so there's that. That's
Basically, it was the only multiplayer game that wasn't fully broken in 2014.
Yeah. I mean, they got that. Why couldn't Smash be Family Game of the Year?
That's what I was thinking as well. Either Smash or Garden Warfare. I mean, maybe
Mario
they're
Kart.
very strict rules that it has to be targeted to a specific. I think this is what makes all of this tough. Like all of our discussion here shows why this award show isn't fully well respected, because it's hard to identify what the heck these awards mean, how the nominees were picked. I mean, we can pretty much understand Best Actor, Best Animated Film, Movie of the Year, Director of the Year. Like we understand that, but when you get like Outstanding Achievement in Narrative, story, or I'm sorry, Strategy Game of the, like that one makes sense. Strategy Game of the Year, Mobile Game of the Year, but Family Game. Well, what does family mean? How are we defining that? Where are the nominees coming from? All of this just kind of feel like they threw a list together because they had to, but there's not a whole lot of. It just doesn't feel all inclusive to me. It feels very limited.
I wish there was some transparency as to how these things get picked, because with the Oscars and stuff like that, we know how that happened. It's people that have been in the industry for a long time, and that's why some of those choices are made. The Oscars are picked by like 80-something-year-olds
Right.
that aren't necessarily in tune with stuff going on now. And I get it. That's why you don't see superhero movies winning anything major, even though some superhero movies are amazing. Some aren't. But this, I don't know who's choosing it. Like you said, here on this article that you had linked me, it says, where is it? There's a disclaimer. It says, reminder, the DICE Awards are voted on by members of the Academy and sort of directly compete with the Game Awards at December. I get it. But who's the Academy? I don't...
Do we need an award show for game? I mean, Game of the Year is like a thing that companies and publishers use to resell and repackage their game and kind of validate their, year. But does any of this matter? I feel like even more than movies, because there's the experience of actually playing the game, like your award, my award are going to be more than likely very different.
Yeah. I mean, and none of this matters. Like, it's nice that some of these developers have the recognition. So, yes, I think we should have awards of some kind that's just universally, like, this is it. I wish the Jeff Keighley one, I kind of wish that was the one, but that sort of feels like an MTV compared to the
Yeah.
DICE Awards being like an Oscars that no one can go to. You know what I mean?
I think also it's just kind of, and some of these are fine. Like if you pick, like I said, Adventure Game of the Year, Shadow of Mordor, okay. If you think Destiny is your action game of the year, okay. Game of the Year, Dragon Age, like okay. Like I'm not, we started off kind of making fun of these a little bit, but they're okay choices. They're not terrible. I think Little Big Planet 3 is a bad choice, but
Yeah,
other than that, they're
I
not
think so
that
too.
bad. The other glaring thing is you look back at 2013's list and you see a lot of The Last of Us, BioShock Infinite, Grand Theft Auto. It kind of just shows how blah last year was.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you surprised that Far Cry 4 didn't make an appearance like anywhere?
It got nominated, but yeah, it didn't win anything.
I
It,
just
it got nominated for a bunch of stuff. I think I saw like maybe 3 or 4.
kind of surprised by the Mordor love. Like
Man, Far Cry 4 got nominated a lot.
I think
Actually.
Mordor is a good game. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a very good game. It was a very fun game and a very good game. But animation, like technical achievement, narrative, character, innovation, game design, game direction. Like, why is that not game of the year then? Like, I mean, like,
Yeah. I mean, game design. I guess if they go for the Nemesis system, like being, I don't know about revolutionary, but I'd wager that we're gonna see it in another game, a non-Mortar game at some point.
that would be cool.
So the fact that that game introduced it, and it's gonna become a mainstay, hopefully, then I guess it deserves it. But like you said, so much subjectivity. Like we don't know. Like we're just some YouTubers, man. We don't know what's going on. It'd
I
be
think
on.
that's across all of gaming though. Like, it's very hard to narrow down, and that's why you see Game of the Year editions for like 20 games a year. Like,
Yeah.
you'll have the Mortal Kombat Game of the Year edition, and the Last of Us Game of the Year edition, and the
Even if no
Portal.
one gives a game of the year, they'll
Right.
still make it. Yeah.
Exactly. So it gets a little bit odd, and I guess like I'm surprised that we don't have any, or I'm disappointed that there's no Sunset Overdrive and there's no Plants Garden Warfare on this list, because I thought those were like two very innovative, fun games that did unique things, and yet they're not acknowledged in.
I honestly just forgot that Plants vs Zombies was even last year. I thought it was 2013.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, how many of these games came out before October? I mean, Mortar was what, end of September?
Yeah.
Destiny was September. Mario Kart May, but other than that, it's like this is a backloaded list here, which it seems to always be. Transistor was early in the year.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you wish was on this list that isn't?
Uh, no, the big one is Hearthstone. I really like the Hearthstone recognition. What else? What was my game of the year last year? I don't even remember, dude. That's so sad.
Not a memorable year.
Nah,
Forget
really.
2014.
Yeah, and let's forget about the Dice Awards.
Yeah, man. Awards in general, like, I think gaming is just one where you make your own awards, and that's kind of what is true for you. Like movies as well. Like, sure, you can think that Iron Man 3 was your favorite movie of the year or whatever, but there seems to be a good consensus. Gaming, it's just so hard to really pin somebody down or pin a group down and say. And for a lot of people, Advanced Warfare was the best game of the year, and it's not even on here. You were mentioning to me earlier that Glenn Schofield was like really bumming that they didn't get anything.
Yeah, I mean, call it bumming, call it being salty, because he went about it the wrong way. Sure, he can feel that, but going on Twitter and saying like, "Hey, we got snubbed." I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's fine, but like, you must have a pretty high opinion of yourself, like at that
Well,
point.
Advanced Warfare was a pretty good game.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I don't know. I don't like that he went to Twitter like that, but it's fine. Like, it's not like f them for doing that. But
Sure.
yeah,
What I think is interesting is if you look at, like, I mean, Destiny aside, the biggest selling games of the year, Watch Dogs, probably, Assassin's Creed Unity and Far Cry 4 once those numbers come back. Titanfall was a big success for Xbox One and a very heavily marketed game. No appearance at all.
yeah, Titanfall not being around at all. Like, man,
It's got to suck for Respawn. their first game and not.
They're lying when they say that they're happy with the reception. They are lying.
Well, you got to put on a good face, like you're saying. You'd rather that than come out and be like, "How come you didn't love our game?"
Yeah.
Sort of like the Advanced Warfare way of going about it. So those are the DICE Awards, kind of the big thing that went down this week. Games that are actually building a better 2015. I finished up Life is Strange. You finished that as well. And without getting into like serious spoilers, maybe if people want, we could do like a small spoiler cast soon. But man, that's a really, really effective 2-hour game.
It is. What'd you think of the ending? Because there was so much things that I kind of spoiled for you, but there was also things I didn't want to spoil. Like, there's a lot of interesting things in that game.
Oh yeah, there's many layers, and I think it's very cool how there's a bunch of like sort of overlapping mysteries. Like you've got, it's hard to talk around, but you've got sort of like the overall like supernatural theme mystery.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the friendship mystery with Max and her best friend, and then there's a layer beneath that of sort of the school mysteries, and then like the missing person mystery, and they kind of all touch each other in a very appropriate way, not in an inappropriate way, but they kind of come at each other in like there's overlap, and they have different layers, and they all have some cause and effect throughout the relationships between the game, which I thought was like the web that they wove, it was pretty spot on.
All right. To me, let's see, let me count them first. All right, I think there's 4. There's 4 main mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
It's obviously the supernatural thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The missing person.
Mm-hmm.
The thing going on at the school.
Mm-hmm.
And then just Chloe's dad. I don't know what the hell his deal is, but something's going on. And I guess, they all do connect. Like, I think Chloe's dad, something fishy's going on at the school. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Also, there's spoilers out there for all the episodes, by the way. Like, if you wanted to, you could go figure out what's happening.
How?
They're on GAF, and they are confirmed to be real from what I can tell.
How? Like, so these are posted from Don't Nod?
No, they're not posted from Don't Nod, but I guess there was like a leak of some kind. Like it's
weird.
Yeah, so it's out there if you want to know. I was tempted.
Don't do it.
Nah,
I want the next episode, but not that bad.
Yeah. Which one of those to you is the most interesting? Are you most intrigued by the supernatural elements, or Max's relationship, or the very...
I think the missing person is sort of the most interesting, because to me that's the most grounded and probably will have the best payoff. I worry, and this is kind of my overall worry, which I'll get to in a minute or two, but I worry that the supernatural could get goofy. What I wanted to ask you specifically is, in comparison to other episodic stuff, which is basically Telltale, how did you think they handled kind of the end game stuff? So I'm talking sort of the montage at the end, the statistical breakdowns. Like, did you feel like that was very Telltale-esque? Did they do it better, worse?
It was Telltale-esque. It wasn't super different, but...
Mm-hmm. I think it's just cool to see a different kind of game, a different studio taking those tools and implementing them, like getting the breakdown of 33% pick this. It was interesting how they had like 4 main choices,
and then they had a million,
like every choice.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it was kind of weird to me how those were decided out. And I wish, it's always hard to know what the breakdown is of what really has impact or not. So for example, one thing that came up to me, and I can say this without really giving anything away, is there's an incident in the garage where you open a cabinet and see something. And then a couple minutes later you talk to your friend and reference, it comes up in the conversation, and I wondered if you just neglected to open that cabinet, if that chunk of conversation would just be removed.
You don't get that.
Okay. So they are pretty good then about, it seems like, sort of, dabbling in little bits.
I wish we could talk about it, because I want to...
Let's do a spoiler cast. We can do a spoiler cast later in the week, a shorter little thing, and maybe we can put up as like a bonus episode or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
There's a lot of good stuff. The one thing I will say, since we'll touch on most of this then later, is like I'm very worried now after beating the first episode that a lot of its fun is because it's so open-ended right now, and as it comes together, it may fall apart completely.
That's one of my concerns. Like where it It's obvious where it's going, but which route is it taking to get there? is it gonna be like supernatural throughout the entire way, or is the fact that there's something supernatural happening sort of just a backdrop to this like missing person mystery? I,
Right.
that's a big one. Like, how prominent will the fact that her friend is Chloe's friend went missing after the the thing with the teacher?
Right.
Like, how big of a role would that have in the story? That's what I want to know the most. That's why I was wanting to look at those spoilers. I'm like, please tell me that this gets
Pays off. Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing. Like, if you look at a show like Lost, which I reference a lot just because it's my personal favorite, but seasons 2 and 3 and even 1 were my favorite because it was all about kind of like mystery upon mystery upon mystery without resolution. And so it left you, the viewer, the game player in this sense, like your imagination went wild of like, what could it be? Oh my God. And speculation is always fun, and kind of imagining is really cool. And then you'll uncover a little bit. It's like, oh my God, it could be this, it could be that. Once they start giving you, the goods, I wonder if the game then becomes more lame. Like,
what, I don't know if it's the game becoming lame. It's, you come up with your own theories, and then
mhm.
that's not how it goes. And you're like, oh man, but it would have been cool if my theory was right.
But how much is the game right now sort of betting on the mystery? And when that mystery starts to become actual plot, like, is Life is Strange to me is really awesome because the strange, and as soon as it just becomes life is, and then we know what it is,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see how they sort of string this out. Like, is it we get more in episode 2, or is this all going to be a huge culmination in episode 5 where we find things out?
I hope certain things get figured out throughout the way. Like, I don't want to wait till episode 5 to find out what happened to the missing girl. Like, I want to
Yeah.
know. Like, I really want to know that. The supernatural stuff I can sort of do without. Like, not that it's bad, but I'm afraid that they're gonna mess it up. I'm afraid
Yeah.
that's gonna be too crazy.
I think from a game design perspective, the best thing they could do is reveal a little bit, like solve a mystery and then add a new mystery. I think if these are our mysteries for the next 5 episodes, that would be possibly lackluster
Well,
because
then,
then
well, think about it. There's like about 4 mystery. Like, all right, there's 4 episodes left. There's 4 big mysteries. Like I said, the
dedicate one per episode.
yeah, that'd be interesting.
I just think if they can keep building instead of like, rather than like filling air into the room and being like supernatural, supernatural, or like missing person, like, okay, give us something and then complicate it, or unveil one answer, but then something happens beyond that. Like, I wonder the scope of sort of the storyline, and again, this is getting really detailed, but like, how far are they going to venture from their hometown? Where are things going to really travel? All in all, like, it's fantastic. I think it's one of the, I mean, early in the year, but such a cool, like, we're looking at a list of awards for like achievement in innovation or whatever. I think it's not like, oh, they have a nemesis system. Telltale's done a lot of this, but the tone and sort of the vibe of it is so unique that I give them just mad props. And even if it doesn't pay off, like I said last week, $5, it's totally worth it.
Like, even $25, right, for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Even though the rest of the season sucks, just like the couple weeks I've had now with the game, where I finished the episode, I finished it twice, plus all the stuff on NeoGAF. Like, NeoGAF is super complimentary to this. Like, I go on there, they have a spoiler thread, they have a non-spoiler thread, the discussion, people's theories. Like, even if they don't play out, like, that was super fun to read. And
It's fun, like BioShock Infinite, or even Last of Us. Games that get you talking after you turn the TV off, after you put the controller down, to me are the ones that have the biggest lasting imprint. And it could be a multiplayer game. I talk a lot about Garden Warfare back in the day, people, Modern Warfare, Dawn of Warfare. These story-driven games that leave you kind of like just lingering around and investigating, like you're saying, on NeoGAF or with friends or discussing it. That is what's really cool to me, and where sort of I get a real kick out of gaming is when it breaks beyond just like set the controller down and I'm done, which most of like the Assassin's Creeds nowadays, the Far Cries, they kind of are like that. Like, I miss the AC days when Desmond's stuff was there, because AC1, like, why is this guy in this room? What are these symbols? Like, that is where it was really cool. And when it becomes very like whitewashed almost and kind of like mainstreamified, that's where to me it loses so much of its luster.
yeah, and I hope Life is Strange does well. So, because if they could do another Life is Strange instead of another Remember Me, I'd be pretty happy.
It'd be interesting to see how it like handled itself. as a big like game. Like I wonder success wise as well as just like score wise, would this be better served as a $60 you know 8 hour 10 hour game or as a split up? What service is the story better? You know, would this game, if you could keep playing right now, would you be a happier customer than having to wait?
I think the wait makes it fun a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because
Gives you a chance to reflect.
yeah, and also you sit there, play through the entire thing, and let's say the back half isn't as good as the front half, it kind of sours the whole experience. Like here, we're
True.
really enjoying this, so for now, we have the super positive thinking of it. So even if the back half isn't as good, whenever we do play, we can think, okay, maybe it didn't close off the way we wanted, but the beginning of it was so great that it's still a positive experience for us.
Sure. And Mexican Jigglypuff, one of the greatest usernames I've seen on
Mexican
YouTube.
Jigglypuff?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Illuminati confirmed, and there was a lot of replies to that because we were throwing up the Triforce
Yeah.
signs
Hey,
last.
I find it so hard to do the Triforce because of my hands, but there you go. Triforce.
Yeah. And there's a lot of Illuminati references in Life is Strange. So
There
I wonder
is.
if that has any implication or if it's just goofy or what.
Yeah, I
But
think that's just goofy.
I did like your references you pointed out. There's a Tomb Raider one and a Final Fantasy one.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
It's pretty cool. Battlefield Hardline, the beta came out. This is a game that's been through like a tumultuous hype cycle. First of all, Battlefield 4 kind of crapped the bed. Then Hardline was supposed to come out, got delayed. We had so many police fiascos that there's a lot of just nastiness around this game.
Yeah.
But what did you think actually playing it?
It's fun. I like it, man. This is it. Everybody's saying it, but it's true. It's closer to Bad Company than Battlefield 4. Like this is like really fast paced. The shooting is more reminiscent of Bad Company. There's a super quick death time. Like you die super quick in this. Like
Your time to death is insanely fast.
yeah. I exclusively played the heist mode. I like the heist mode a
too.
lot. So I wish there was more maps. I mean, it's a beta, so whatever. But
There's a lot underneath it as well. So basically, the heist mode is cops versus robbers, and the cops have infinite respawns. Robbers have 100 tickets. So it borrows a lot from Battlefield, like
Yeah.
the gunplay, the look. I mean, it's basically a Battlefield 4 mod. Like,
yeah, it's a Battlefield 4 mod that speeds it up and adds gameplay modes and whatnot.
but there's a lot like the whole purchase system where you can get like a grappling hook or
yeah,
like
which
different
I
weapons.
which I like a lot.
And that's within game, right? That's not.
No, you unlock it once and it's yours.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so once you have the grappling hook, you can use that forever.
Well, I don't know about the grappling hook exclusively. I never unlocked it, so I don't know. But
There's like a zip line. I was like, what? Like,
a gun, right? A gun costs like $20,000. Once you spend those 20,000 in that gun, it's not just for that. It's not 20,000 in one game. Like you have that gun forever.
okay, yeah. There's just a lot of like different. What would you call them? Like options for your loadout, whether it's gear.
There's a
whether
lot.
it's-
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
And at the same time, like it still felt like guys running at guys and falling over. Did you like in any of your matches really see sort of the strategy playing out, or was it more just like Battlefield except we're wearing masks?
It's difficult to see the strategy. I said that word wrong. Strategy play out when it's 32 people against
Yeah.
32 people. It's super crowded. Even if you're trying to do your job, like defend the bag of cash so that they don't get it, everyone else is out there just trying to get the kills. So more often than not, the team that has the infinite spawns wins because the other team isn't always trying to go for the objective. But if you can get a small fraction of the team to do what they're supposed to, it's very easily winnable. I was playing with some friends at one point. It was 4 of us, and us 4 going for the money and taking it back to the point where the extraction point, we pretty much won the game. Single-handedly, because everybody else was off killing each other. They're a distraction.
It just kind of feels like your local squad or your friend's squad, like everybody else is kind of just extra. They're just there fighting, and you're trying to do your job. Like there is options to throw different kinds of grenades that limit the cops from getting close, or that kind of block off an entryway, or different things like that. But for the most part, my experience was like playing by myself. cops would get high up on the buildings and be shooting down the streets, and as soon as someone with a bag would run out into that open area, boom, they'd go down. And then, you're inching the bag like a little bit more.
I mean, you could go up there to the roof yourself and kill them. Nothing's stopping you. I think one of the best things to do in that game is plant the thing or the on the vault or whatever to where you can open and close it. Also plant the explosives, and then the other team sees like, okay, these things are planted. They're gonna come through here. This thing's gonna blow up and they're gonna rush us. You go around them, and your thing blows up. They're throwing all the grenades in there, thinking you're in there, but at that point it's awesome.
I didn't like also that, like, I thought the cops and robbers looked too, the criminals and the police officers look too similar.
Yeah, it's super generic, like stuff like that.
But they have to, I think they have to find a way so you can identify, like, is that dude running around over there a friend or a foe, especially when it's 16 on 16.
Yeah. Is it 16 on 16 or 32 on 32?
Oh, it might be 32 on, in that case.
On
it's
PC,
like
on PC,
chaos.
so I don't remember. It might be 16. You might be
I was
right.
playing on PS4.
Okay. So, I played a little bit on Xbox One, but I don't remember if it was 16 or 32. Doesn't matter.
Actually, I'm pretty sure it was 8 on 8.
No.
On PS4.
8 on 8?
I believe it was 8 on 8. I'll look this up right now, but I'm pretty sure the heists were 8 on 8 on PS4.
Hold on. There's no way.
Stop the press.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, 8v8.
Really?
Yep.
Wait, so is that how it was on PC and I just don't remember?
It says that there's 16 versus 16 on PC, it looks like.
Okay, so then I think that's what I played then.
Yeah, so even still, though, like, I felt on 8v8 that there was, like, too many... I don't know. To me, it just felt like I was like, ah! Like not really supporting the objective as much as I was just killing. And I think that's where this game will either, like, live or die, because it basically is a Battlefield 4 mod. It's not like the graphics are improved. It's not like the, anything is significantly different except for the modes. And if the modes are played like a team deathmatch, I worry. If they're able to be played like their objectives that they state, the heist mode, then it's cool.
Did you like it? Like, did you have fun playing it, or no? You played a couple rounds.
I had fun with the couple of rounds I played, but my fun was like more of a hope tide thing, as goofy as that sounds. Like wow, this could be really cool.
Yeah.
If done right, because I really like the idea of, like, oh god, I'm this criminal, we're trying to get the cash bag out, and like when I was carrying it, like the intensity was there. But I wonder how much of that's just like window dressing instead of actual gameplay, because when it came down to it, it was still like a bunch of dudes versus a bunch of dudes shooting each other, and I didn't see a whole lot of strategy being used. And I wonder if some of those unlocks that do allow more strategy are tied towards, higher and higher levels. Like, will it even factor in? Like, as soon as people are ziplining around and grappling, like, okay, now we've got a different game. But
yeah, for sure.
I didn't see anybody using any of that.
Yeah, I ziplined a couple times. Well, somebody put the zipline there. I didn't put it, but
really?
I used it.
Do you think this game would be better if it was like 3-on-3 or 4-on-4? Like
no way. I mean, then the maps have to be tiny. Like, this is a huge map. You can't have 3-on-3 on this map.
But like, what? I just got the sense like the objective didn't matter. Like, the cops were just trying to kill us, and we were trying to kill them, even though they couldn't die. It seems so heavily in their favor.
I think the reason the objective does matter in this one is that the objective constantly moves. Like, it's not like the bag is always in one... Like, sure, they spawn in one place, but once it's moved from there, the action has to move. Yeah. So then that opens up different ways, different places in the map that you need to be, because, like, okay, now this bag is in the middle of the street. Like, it's probably harder to get. So at that point, your objective changes from getting the bag. It changes to going up, making sure that the roofs are clear so that whoever does try to go get the bag doesn't get instantly killed. Like, it's a mini objective. The game doesn't tell you, but, I mean, it's what it is. It's not a smart thing to go out and get that bag once in the middle of the street and the rooftops are just snipers.
I guess I just wish I could have, like, a single-player criminal-based game where you, like...
Battlefield Hardline will be single-player.
Well, yeah, I wonder how that's going to fare out. Like, and are you taking on the role of the... Is it both sides? Or I'm guessing it's cops, right?
I would assume so. I don't know. I don't think it would go well for you to play as a robber and for you to shoot a cop. Like, in America in 2015, that's not something that can be...
I mean, maybe it would go over really well.
I don't know, man.
Although these cops aren't very kind, as they, like,
slice
you with their Bowie knife and...
That man,
It's like
that's one of
robbers
the.
on robbers.
You brought that up. I unlocked this melee weapon. I don't even know the name of it, but it's like this giant hook.
Yeah.
It's useless. Like unless someone's like crouched there trying to snipe, there's no way you can like, effectively use this because you click the melee attack button and it takes maybe 2.5 seconds for the whole animation to, because he lifts it up and he's like super slow. Like I don't. That thing is so useless. I didn't get it.
My question is like, if you put a couple cops on the roofs and you put a couple cops by the getaway areas, how are they ever going to stop you? Because unless
you can kill them.
But the criminals have limited spawns, so if they keep fighting the cops are going to respawn and go back to their posts. It would have to be like this perfect coordinated storm where either all 8 guys or all 16 guys would wipe the other team.
I think play more. It's not that hard.
It just felt.
I guarantee you that if me and you and like let's say one other person like Max were to jump on and we're all coordinating what we're doing, we can win as the robbers. It's not hard at all.
Okay. So maybe it's just not a solo game.
I think I could do it solo too.
Really? You think you could push that bag yourself?
I don't know if I push the bag myself, but I'm fairly confident that even me playing by myself, I can play.
What if there's snipers? Like, how do you deal with that, though?
You shoot them.
No, I'm saying you're on the ground. You're going to go up with the bag up to the building and shoot the sniper. They're just going to respawn and go back.
Well, I mean, there's like-minded people out there that are also trying to play the objective. Like, it's not everyone being crazy. I'm telling you, Zach.
Maybe my games were just goofy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you can do this. I believe in you. I will record a video where I'm winning this.
Okay.
Maybe not single-handedly winning this, but that my team wins when I'm with the robbers and I'm playing by myself.
Like, if you take a game like Evolve, it's impossible to really deviate from what you're trying to do because if you're not fighting the monster, then what the heck are you doing? If you're not killing the hunters, then what the heck are you doing? Here, like, the Call of Duty player, the Battlefield 4 player can go in and buff their KDR and not play the objective at all, which, I don't know,
But then they lose.
True, but you're still having fun. Like, I still had fun playing the game.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't doing my job, but maybe
Are you more or less excited now for Battlefield Hardline?
more, because before I was 0.
Yeah.
So
that's my thinking. Before I was 0, now I'm like
Right.
25% excited.
I think it's interesting to see what they do. We mentioned the single player. Like, where is that just going to basically feel like a Battlefield 4.5 campaign, or do they somehow incorporate some of this, back and forth cop robber tension battle into the single player?
I don't know, man. And they're not showing the single player at all,
Right.
really. So
Just skeptical at best.
yeah,
When is that game out?
March.
Okay,
So like next month.
so it's coming out really soon. So this is more of a demo than a beta.
Yeah.
Basically, I think it's. Do you wish that Battlefield would not have gone after Call of Duty and would have stayed its own thing? Because I feel like in the process, Battlefield has sort of rubbed itself totally thin, and now it's not. The first couple of years where we had the Call of Duty Battlefield, clash, they were two heavyweights, and I feel like with this game, Battlefield is sort of like bowing out of that.
Yeah, I mean they did it to themselves basically. Like Battlefield 4, it was a mess. Like it to this day, like people have problems with that game. Like
So weird.
I mean, what do you even say about that? They did it to themselves. Like maybe they shouldn't have gone after Call of Duty. You're right. I mean, if they would have stayed doing their own thing, make an improvement from Battlefield 3 to the next step in Battlefield instead of like Battlefield 3.5, which is what Battlefield 4 was.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe Battlefield 5 is the next time. Even this is Battlefield 4.5 to an extent, like you said. But
well, it was supposed to be a big fall release, but it got delayed. I mean, they've got to fix their server things. I think the biggest success that Battlefield Hardline can have is reaffirming that DICE and EA can do online multiplayer.
That delay actually ended up being a good thing, because if it would have come out and then all those real life events that happened, people are going to be boycotting it, and people get over things rather quickly. I don't think this game will sell less because
it's enough time, even if it's only a couple months. So Battlefield Hardline Beta, we'll probably play some more. Does it have an end date?
Yeah, it's only a week, so I don't know what the actual end date is, but
next Tuesday, in a couple days. Should evolve. I have a new 3DS.
Yeah, you do.
I'm gonna. You have any questions for a new 3DS owner?
How is the stupid eraser?
So, the new 3DS, um, is Nintendo's attempt to do what we talked about for an hour last week, which is like iterate on hardware and sell it at the same price point.
It's not a 3DS 2.
No,
It's a new 3DS.
plays all the same games. It has the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 or Xenoblade 3D, whatever that's called, is coming out, and that's exclusive to the system. It's a little more powerful, but it definitely is an upgrade. Like,
You think
and
so?
I've played Majora's Mask for about an hour, so I haven't had a lot of time. I'll come back next week with sort of more complete thoughts on the game and on the system. But I am like, there's no way I would go back, which is great for Nintendo, I guess.
Yeah.
The second stick is the worst second stick ever, but at the same time, it's so much better than like adding on that clunky Circle Pad Pro
Okay. Yeah.
attachment. Like the big knock on this stick is
There's no
um,
movement, right?
there's no movement. So like it is sensitive where like if you push it a little bit, it will move a little, but you're not getting any like force feedback. So when you move a normal analog stick, like you get like it moves a little. This thing is just like locked in place because it's just a little eraser head. So it definitely adds a lot though, because all of a sudden I'm playing Majora's Mask and now I can twirl the camera around, and if I couldn't do that on the 3DS, it would be a lot more awkward.
Yeah.
The big get though for this system is the new 3D is
That was my next question. Is it really improved? Because they say the viewing angles are better.
I don't know if it's just Majora's Mask because the game is like coming out in conjunction optimized. I'm gonna try some older games, but man, it is much better.
Yeah.
Much better. Two main points. One, when you play the first 3DS or even the 3DS XL, I feel like you had to get your eyes in sort of this like focus mode to like get the 3D, and you could like almost like not even moving your head, but like snap your vision out of it. Like your focus had to be very directed to get the 3D effect. And even if you like sort of jarred your eyes, you could lose it. And obviously if you tilted your head or moved, you would lose it as well. Here, there is no strain. Like I'm just looking at it and it feels like this is a 3D box somehow inside.
So you're not moving your hands to make it line up with wherever you're facing. Like, all right, man.
Not at all. None of
cool.
that, and no. I would get eye strain from playing the old 3DS to the point where I just haven't used 3D on my 3DS in games.
Yeah.
But this one, you don't have to have like the specific focus. I can't explain it, but people who've played probably know. Like, you kind of had to get your eyes in like a set like zone, and you don't have to do that here. And it adds a lot. Like, it does add a lot to have a system that's playing with subtle 3D effects. And you're not really doing anything. And the viewing angle is pretty darn wide. Unless you're like someone who wants to, there's no way that it would break your focus. It's not like, oh, I can tilt my head 6 inches this way, 6 inches this way. It's pretty substantial.
Wow.
So I like it a lot.
I really wanted the Majora's Mask one, but it's not happening. Those things are gonna go for thousands of dollars on eBay now. So
my big complaint with the new 3DS is that they didn't bring over the faceplates, because I thought that was, custom or like limited edition 3DSs are such a cool thing. I've got like the Pikachu 3DS XL, and there's Mario, Yoshi, Monster Hunter, and now Majora's Mask.
yeah,
But
the NES one is a nice, yeah.
Or like Pokemon one, Smash Bros. But faceplates would be a great way for people to have that experience for only $15 or $20. I almost wonder, like they said, oh, we didn't have store shelf space. The XL sells better in America. I almost wonder if maybe like limited editions sold really well in the US, so they're gonna force, like if you want a different looking 3DS, you gotta buy a limited edition.
Yeah, I mean that's possible. I'm excited to get my hands on one.
I think it's very cool. I don't think it's like, light the world on fire. There's no game at launch that's exclusive. Xenoblade's later, but man, like I played the Codename Steam demo, which I think we'll probably talk about next week, on a regular 3DS, and turning the camera with XYBA, like it's functional, right? But now having a second stick to do it, it's going to make that game just that much better. And it's not the best stick. People will make fun of it. They should make fun of it. It's kind of paltry. But like, would I rather have no stick? Heck no. I like this over that. Nintendo makes these incremental upgrades that on the surface look really lame and kind of like, what is Nintendo doing? But at the same time, like, it's an upgrade. And it's noticeably better.
So the next 3DS,
right,
I don't know. It has a full second stick. So
Gets a little goofy. We'll talk Majora's Mask and kind of more on the system next week. One thing I have to bring up for my Splatoon minute of the week, because we didn't have one last week.
Oh yeah.
Is that they announced that there's no bots and no voice chat, and it's 4-on-4 multiplayer, and the game requires that. So either this game needs to sell a crap ton of copies, or you're going to be able to play online for like 2 months.
Yeah, the no voice chat. I don't get. I mean, there's never voice chat really in Nintendo games. I don't.
No, they don't believe in it because people could somehow creep through your phone and steal you or kidnap your kid
or cuss at you, which is the big thing they probably don't want. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Get on a Skype call and play with your friends that way.
Well, and Splatoon, they're saying the rounds take like 3 to 4 minutes, so
it's too quick.
It's too quick. There's not a whole lot going on. You can still set up. I believe you can still set up friend, like Nintendo, whatever they call it, Network ID friend chat and play. So you're just not getting like random matchmaking chat.
Yeah. Okay.
So like to clarify there, it's not that this game, I believe, won't have any voice chat. It's just that you won't be able to talk to,
the people you're playing against.
Well, or if you were playing with randoms.
Okay.
Which again, like how much coordination do you really need? Like my Call of Duty experience is mostly solitary, and I don't lose out. People aren't like, okay, let's go to the objective. Okay, I got your back. Like there's not a whole lot of that.
Yeah. And even though it was there, I don't want to hear it. Like not with Call of Duty. Like you can do that on your own. I'm sure Splatoon you can do on your own.
Right. I think we got a couple really good months coming up. I mean, we're on the verge of the Order and Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Majora's Mask and the new 3DS is next week.
Then Evolve and the Order.
Evolve is also next week, and then we move into March, which has Bloodborne, which is looking.
You forgot about the Order, man. Sony's.
I said the Order.
Nope. No.
I think that's what I said first. The Order and the Rainbow Curse.
No, you said Kirby, and then you went to Zelda.
I said Order. No. Rewind the tape.
All right, whatever.
The tape is the evidence. And then March with Bloodborne, and
you forgot about Dragon Ball in a couple weeks. Ooh.
Are you getting on that Dragon Ball hype?
Yeah, I'm gonna get on that Dragon Ball hype train, man.
Create your own female Super Saiyan.
Yeah, why not?
I think it's cool that they have a character creator.
Yeah, people are excited about it. People are really excited about it.
Those like anime fighting games actually end up selling really well and probably make quite a big profit for Bandai Namco.
Yeah.
It's
good. I mean, good for them. Is it also on 360 and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's
okay. Yeah, I think it's gonna sell. I would imagine.
Tomb Raider stealthily announced a 360
annoying.
version.
That's dumb.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not made by Crystal Dynamics, so I guess it doesn't matter.
They're saying it doesn't like have any impact on the next.
Yeah,
game.
I don't believe them, but
it's a little sneaky to just all of a sudden come out and be like, we're cross chat.
Yeah. You want to talk about the last couple games that we've been playing?
Yeah, throw out the Gabe Indie Minute.
All right, but no, one last thing. You're right. Like this year already feels better. We already have Life is Strange, which is to me a positive experience. We already have Dying Light, which to me is a positive experience. Like I'm already Go ahead.
I was gonna say, especially because the games that were really like creative last year, like Plants vs Zombies, Garden Warfare, and Sunset Overdrive, seem to gain no traction. At least like I'm hoping Life is Strange maintains its presence throughout the episodes. I'm hoping that Bloodborne has more pull than Sunset for being something a little more niche. I thought last year started okay, but then pooped out. But yeah, you're right. We talk about the upcoming months: Mortal Kombat 10, The Witcher soon. Before you know it, we'll be at Batman and E3.
Yeah. All right. So I've been playing Castle in the Darkness. The game is designed by Matt Cap. He works at Nicholas. 1001 Spikes, Binding of Isaac Rebirth is their more recent game. And
when you first said that, I'm thinking like Nicholas, like the guy's name, but then I realized it's like the company Niccalis.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking like Nicolas Cage is making video games. What's going on?
Yeah, Nicholas. What a Cave Story. They did that. So he's done work on a lot of it. So
a lot of these like hardcore indie games.
Yeah. Man, this game is a mixture between Zelda.
Okay.
What else? Mega Man.
Okay, you're selling me really, really good right
Castlevania.
now. Okay.
Older Castle. Like I don't even know if you played these. Like this is Zelda 1 mixed with Mega Man.
Zelda 1.
Yeah, Zelda 1 mixed with
what does it borrow from Zelda 1?
Aesthetically, the fact the pots, you can break the pots for the money. There you can equip weapons. You buy weapons as you go along. So
this is a side-scrolling
action adventure game. Yeah.
Is it rogue light or no?
If by roguelike you mean you're gonna die a lot, yeah.
Okay, but not like improve your character or anything like that.
Well, you're improving your character, but it's one persistent character. It's not a different
Okay.
character whenever you die.
But you are like gains that you make in one life pay off.
Yeah, you stick with them as long as you get to a save point. The thing about this game, if you don't reach a save point, you're not gonna save. That doesn't get saved. So if you beat a boss and you decide to not go back to the save point, and then you die, you gotta beat that boss again. And in the beginning, there's this like arbitrary difficulty where like you're dying so quickly. You have a this big long health bar. It's like but then you get hit twice and it's gone. You're dead. But the enemies are super easy to deal with, so it doesn't really matter at first. The first couple of bosses, they're more or less a cakewalk. They're just training you for the fact that you're gonna fight bigger enemies with long life bars. But then you get to like maybe the fourth boss, maybe fifth boss. You really got to sit there and just die a couple times to figure out their patterns.
How are you upgrading your character? Just more health, more strength, stats?
Every time you defeat a boss of any kind, you get a heart. Or you get the heart, it gives you just a couple more bars of health.
So there's no statistics
There
of
is.
like,
There is.
There is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as you make your way through the game, you get more swords, different armor, things like that.
Cool.
Weapons do more damage. Armor obviously helps with health, I would assume. I honestly don't know. I haven't picked up armor yet, but I know it's out there. It's in the menu. The menu, you can't go into it whenever you want. You have to do it at a save point.
Okay.
The save point serves as a save point. Every time you get to a save point, you automatically get your health regenerated. Like
Little Dark Souls touch there.
Yeah. So you're playing for the next save point mostly because the levels get so hard. The enemies just get tougher and tougher. And there's also magic in the game. You unlock this. So far, the only one I have unlocked is a fireball. You charge it up like I don't know how familiar you are with like a Mega Man X for example.
Super familiar.
So you charge up the Mega Buster and you throw the big thing. That's basically what this is. You charge up your attack. You're glowing red instead of blue, and you let loose a fireball.
Okay.
There's enemies that guard fireballs, so you can only attack them with your sword. Like, man, the game is really fun.
So does it feel like an upgraded I don't want to phrase it. Does it feel like a 2015 version of an 8-bit game, or does it feel like a new 8-bit game?
It just feels like a new 8-bit game. Like
okay. You're talking about all these systems. I didn't know if it seems pretty like in depth.
It is, but they're old systems.
Okay.
Like there's nothing in here that's super like exclusive to 2015. Like
okay.
How
does it compare to Shovel Knight?
I see the comparison. I mentioned it in one of my videos, but I wouldn't compare them very much at all. This has more. Shovel Knight, you're Shovel Knight for the most part. Like, you're not upgrading him a whole lot.
Right, well, that's what I was saying. Like, it sounds like they almost... It felt a little bit like an upgraded 8-bit game just because there are these systems overlaid upon, the foundation of, like, just a...
I mean, but this stuff was around back then.
True. So it's a really good one, basically.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I talk about music a lot, but the music in this is great. I always mention music. I don't know who did the music, but I think Matt Cap like made this on his own. Like this,
really?
He did this like secret. It wasn't a secret, but it was like a side project for like a few years, and it's finally done. Like this was made at the same time that all these other games were being made. It was just like a super like side project that nobody really knew or cared about for the most part. And it's $6. It's on Steam. You should really try it out. I'm curious.
I definitely will. Like, I mean, it's one of those things again where we always are trying to decide like how do we know if this is a worthwhile indie game or not. The visuals in this one don't really stand out.
Oh no, this looks so you're gonna get black bars like
right.
This isn't HD.
What is like the defining thing? Like what makes this? Is it just the controls, the overall
polish? Man, the controls are super precise, like pixel precise. Like
sweet.
One of the bosses, there's only this one area of the level that you can stand on, and one of the stomp attacks that it does drops a block on you, and there's one area that if you stand on it, the platform right above you blocks it by just a pixel. Like you can't even see it visually that it's there, but you stand there and that block that's gonna fall on you doesn't fall on you, and then that's how you're able to continue the boss fight. But the combat, it's so on point. Like anytime you die is because you messed up. You're either rushing, or you took too long to attack, or you didn't smash the button fast enough to get more than one attack off. So super precise gameplay, amazing music. The levels are actually really, really interesting. The fact that you can...
Is it level based? I forgot to ask. Or is it like a sprawling map?
No, you're going like it's just a giant map. There's travel. You unlock it. You can go from one save point to another. Things like
Okay.
that. So,
Sounds super good. I mean, it sounds like you're giving it a seal of approval.
oh yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
I'm gonna pin the really bad question on you, which is, as two sort of indie games, if you could only play Life is Strange or this one, what would you choose?
I'd probably have to go with Life is Strange just because I
Story.
wanted.
Yeah.
If yeah, the story. There's no story. You're saving a princess. Like
Ooh.
yeah, like oh, there's this super sweet Mario reference, right? You're going through an area and there's just a
Mhm.
pipe there, and you're playing a side-scrolling game. You see a pipe. What do? You
Go into it.
Yeah, you go down. There's a sign right next to the pipe that says, "Hey, you're not allowed to go into the sewers." But you're like, "Nah, not Mario. I'm gonna go into the
Right.
sewer." You go down, and at the bottom it's just spikes that instantly kill
Oh,
you.
jeez.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So this is Castle in the Darkness, which is I think it's on sale actually for $5 on
It's
Steam.
$4.97. Yep.
Yeah. So like you can't really go wrong even if you get an hour of fun of it. Well, that's very cool. I love to hear when there's like standout indie games, especially that's the only way I hear about them because it's so hard to filter through. I would look at this game and not even give it a second chance.
Yeah, and it doesn't like seeing it. Like if you see a screenshot of it, you're like, "Nah, man, I don't care about that. Like that's an NES
Right.
game right there."
But you
But
picked it up based on the pedigree, kind of.
yeah, I mean, I've known about it for a while.
Okay.
I got a press release. I'm like, okay, I saw the trailer. It looked,
An 8-bit trailer.
yeah, like and the fact that the save points, right? Like I said, you're playing towards the next save point,
Hmm.
and you messing up automatically just makes you like, no, like I can do this. Like
So you're buying stuff with
coins,
money,
coins,
coins.
yeah.
Do you lose those when you die? Like, is there any?
You don't lose everything. Like when you die, you go right back to your old save point. So however much money you had at
Okay, so
that
it's
point,
just save based.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So very very standard and traditional in that
yeah.
sense. Well, super cool. I'm sure. Yeah, it's just so hard to filter through. Like, again, I look at this and I see the screen, and if I didn't have you telling me, I'd be like, no, but I'll definitely check this out. I'll touch base with you next week, Gabe, with the coming through with the good indie games. Andre Leclerc came in with a question that kind of ties into this. He says, "Would you guys rather have a lot of games coming out, not great games, but lots of them, so you have a lot of variety to choose from, or would you rather only have games that are of Last of Us quality, but only a very select few coming out a year? So basically, quality,
Versus quantity, and I want
but in a very like extreme amount."
okay, all right, and see, he reminded me of something, right? We've been talking about games being good and bad a lot. Every time we talk about a new game, you ask like, hey, is it worth playing?
Right.
Is it good? And off air, I was thinking, man, Zach goes to The Last of Us a lot. I can tell you really like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
What if there was a lot of The Last of Us coming out? It just stops being so special.
Yeah.
So the reason you go back towards it so much and the reason you like it so much is because it's different. There's games out there that do story, as good as The Last of Us. Maybe not the type of games you want to play, but the fact that it's so rare to see something like that. I don't want every game to be on the quality of The Last of Us, because if they are, then I get spoiled. And next time that there's something that isn't as good, but it's still good, I'm going to be like, nah, well, it's not this. Like, the bar is set too high.
So basically, like a forced limiting of 10 out of 10s, so that the 10 out of 10s feel a lot more fun than they otherwise would. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess the question then becomes like, okay, if everything from every game was of the Last of Us caliber, Last of Us wouldn't feel special. But if they kept getting better and better,
Well, they're not going to keep getting better and better.
Last of Us is maxed out. That's as good as it's gonna get.
No, I'm not saying that. But if everything is of that caliber, what's going to push them to do better? Like, if
True.
this is what people love.
So basically, you're saying you would choose. So in his question, what would you choose then? Like the select few, like 5 gems a year. Okay, let's get strict with numbers here. Let's say 5 games a year, but they're all like 10 out of 10 Last of Us Game of the Year caliber, or the hundreds of games that come out every year, so you have lots of variety.
As long
With
as
potentially one that's going to be really good.
man, that's a great question. I'm tempted to say I'll take the 5.
Yes. It's so hard. But yeah, at the same time, like I would rather have 5 games that I feel super committed to and super strong about. Something that bothers me so much is this idea that the game gets good later on and that I should have to, like, on one hand, you're a completely impatient idiot if you don't stick this game out the first couple hours and get to the good stuff. But on the other hand, my favorite games, whether they're Mario, BioShock, Life is Strange, whatever, like these games grab you in the opening moments. And why a game should get a pass on that? I guess like I think I'd take the 5, honestly.
I don't know definitively that I would take the 5.
You're not committing to this.
Yeah, no, because then I wouldn't get Castle in the Darkness. We wouldn't get
Sure.
Life is Strange. We wouldn't get Dying Light. Like games that I like a lot. Like I like them.
I mean, our YouTube channels would be in somewhat of trouble if there are only 5 games a year.
Yeah, sure. You know, can't pay the bills. So yeah,
I just think if there were like 5 BioShock Infinite or Last of Us or whatever whatever your personal game of the year.
I don't want 5 BioShock Infinite a year.
I don't mean 5 BioShocks. I just mean like 5.
No, I know what you mean.
It could be 5 different genres, right? You could have a multiplayer only.
Okay, all right. So if for the year we can have, I mean, I know you don't even like the game all that much, but Dragon Age is one because you know there's a lot to do. Smash, we'll throw out there Bloodborne, and we'll give you we'll give you Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty. If those are your 5 games for the year.
But they're all 10 out of 10.
Yeah, but they're all to the max of their.
That's pretty cool.
Is that what you want? You get the best Bloodborne experience you can get, the best Assassin's Creed ever.
See, the hard thing about this is like, if I could pick the 5, then yes. But if we think about this in the sense of the gaming industry, the 5 games would be from the best-selling franchises or from whatever. So
and that's why I mentioned Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed on there.
So you'd have Madden, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed. Probably some Nintendo game, assuming they're still around, and then like FIFA or something.
Yeah, nah, man. You guys can keep your 5 games and give me my 100, and I'm sure I'll like something along the way.
If I could pick my 5, then I like that.
What would your 5 be?
Upcoming or past or what?
Like anything.
Okay, like I'll go franchises right now, I guess, or genres kind of. So, online first-person shooter.
You got Destiny, okay.
Sure. Destiny how I want it to be.
All right,
yes,
yeah.
okay.
Right.
So I'll take Destiny how I want it to be.
Okay.
I'll take a Nintendo game like a new Mario maxed out.
Okay.
I'll take a BioShock. Doesn't have to be BioShock, but like a shooter with like story.
Okay.
I'll take a third-person game with story like Last of Us.
Okay. You don't want an RPG, man? Even like a Japanese RPG?
See, I'm trying to decide my 5th game if I go like a party game, like a Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Or do I? Because I have to completely like sit out of the sports genre.
Yeah. You're not playing 2K.
I'm not playing any sports games anymore. I mean, I guess like then the deal is like, can you get 5 new games a year? So the next year, can I take like a sports game, a racing game? I mean, I think ultimately variety is probably for the best. I mean, that's what's gonna happen. So it's a fun conversation to have, but ultimately variety is probably. I still though like the idea of 5 like glorious games is pretty tempting.
Well, you get some glorious games as it is. Not a lot. They're partial.
Do you think we had any like true like in 10 years will any game from last year be?
Not from last year, no.
No.
But the year before. I mean, The Last of Us is really.
What about this year? What one stands out as kind of like, not even like the game of the year, but I'm talking about like 5-10 years down the line as like. Wow, I'm so glad 2015 gave us.
I mean, sheer scope-wise, I don't even know how you feel about the series, but I like it quite a bit. Metal Gear, I
guess it's just how much is 5 different from 4.
A lot. It's tremendously different. It is. It's if
that world pans out, like how open.
It's humongous.
Trust in Kojima.
No, I don't just trust in Kojima. Like I've trusted in people that have seen this. Like this thing is huge.
There's no date on that still, right?
No, they say this year, but. I think that game's gonna be special.
You think it comes out pre E3?
Yeah, post. Yeah.
So fall. It's gonna be a fall release.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great fall release at that.
That's an interesting. I'll be curious to see the breakdown of that Xbox versus PlayStation. So you think Metal Gear? I would say. I think Bloodborne, if it sort of becomes the pinnacle of that type of game. To me, like the Uncharted 4, the Tomb Raider, like that stuff is gonna.
It'll be good. Like same with Zelda. Like I love Zelda, but
it depends if Zelda could be it. If it comes out,
if it comes out, I don't.
Why do you think it's not coming out, Gabe?
Cause man,
They can't release Yoshi's Woolly World in November.
but
And
I
that's
mean,
it.
dude, I think Nintendo will be happy with releasing Yoshi, Kirby, Star Fox, and I don't know.
So Kirby is coming out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, like it's not like Nintendo's gonna have 100 games out there. I don't. Who knows, man? Zelda might not be ready.
But then they delay it, what, till next fall? Zelda, when is
No,
Zelda
no,
come
no,
out?
no, no, no.
Spring.
I don't know.
I don't think it ever, like the main ones, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it comes out. Just the
Zelda 2015.
just
Get
the-
it tattooed.
just the fact that we haven't seen anything really. Like,
I think it's their E3 blowout. Like, I'm telling you, Mario 3D World was not shown. It's shown at E3. I walked over and played like 10 levels. So I think the game has a big E3 blowout, playable on the show floor, and boom.
I hope you're right, man. I want to get a Zelda tattoo this year, another one. And
Based on that game?
No, I don't know if it'll be based on that game. If it's not based on that, I'm gonna go based off A Link to the Past, the first 3 stones that you gotta go get. I'm gonna get those on my wrist.
All right.
And
all right.
so, but that can easily be replaced by a new like Zelda, like
Do something.
yeah. So if there's a new
something.
staple of something, like a new something small.
I hope that we're able to get the podcast playing and play Zelda all together at E3. The Nintendo booth is usually empty, so you'll be able to play unless it goes crazy because of Zelda. But even with Mario, it was like
I mean, how was it with Smash?
Smash was a little bit more, but still like to the point where like I could play around, wait around, play around, wait around. Like
Okay.
Nintendo, if you want to play games at E3, like Nintendo is the place to be. 'Cause
Yeah.
for better or worse, they still just like in the real world, they don't get a whole lot of
No.
support or love. But thank you guys for your support or love. It's a shorter show today, just getting back on the Friday track, so we didn't give you guys an 11-day gap. Make sure to let us know your thoughts on award shows, the games we discussed, and kind of now that you've got an evolved form of our podcast with Facecam and gameplay.
Yeah.
Hopefully that is.
Let me talk about that a little bit.
Go for it.
Sorry, I cut you off, but okay. I mean, you guys have been watching this video, so there's gameplay going on. When I'm talking about Castle in the Darkness, what you're seeing there is Castle in the Darkness. Same with Life is Strange, but besides that, I'm gonna throw some like hardline footage up there and whatnot. I need your input, guys. It's usually 3 of us on the podcast, so I can't do it like this all the time. So, do you want the gameplay to be, a separate square the same size of us? You want us to be much smaller, but then the rest
It could
of
be
it
overlaid over the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, I need your input on that, and yeah, I mean, keep in mind this stuff takes a little while to do, so if the podcast is a little bit later, it's on me.
But it's also exists because of, well, it gets onto YouTube because of you. So
Yeah,
big shout out to you for taking that.
yeah. So still, man, feedback as far as the layout and whatnot. I'm not super great at Photoshop or whatever, but any suggestions you guys might have,
Let us know.
Yeah.
Let your voice be heard. And next week, you'll hear us talking about more new 3DS stuff, Majora's Mask. I've been playing and kind of want to give my thoughts on the updates there and how that game fares in 2015. We've got a couple other indie games. Grow Home, I think we're going to both touch on next week. Maybe some more Apotheon. We'll see if Max does anything. There's no big releases, but definitely the 3DS is kind of a big thing.
The Majora's Mask, that's a big release.
We'll touch on that and hopefully some more stuff as we gear ourselves up for the upcoming big stuff. Because like we mentioned at the top of the show, the Order and all that is coming your way very soon, and we all will be playing those. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to follow Gabe on Twitter, twitter.com/VolatileGabe. Check out his Castle in the Darkness videos currently on YouTube, plus his Life is Strange playthrough. Compare it to mine if you want. Got that wrapped up, and his is wrapped up. Give us episode 2, please.
Yeah.
As soon as I was done, I was like, where's episode 2?
Is that May? May, right? No, March.
March.
I don't know why I'm thinking May. I was like,
If it was May, I was going to be like, Gabe, you're killing me here. May is Mario Kart DLC Pack 2. That's the spacing that we all hate. 7 months between DLC packs. Man. You don't have to wait 7 months, though, till the next podcast. We'll be back next week. We'll see you guys then. Until that time, thanks so much for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, a great week. And until next time, signing off for Gabe and me, we will see you all later.
Goodbye.